Hey guys, Luna here, and welcome back to a game called Our Life. We're about to take our parents out to their anniversary dinner, and I'm very excited to see how that takes us. We barely stepped over the threshold of the condo before Mom descended, eagerly welcoming both. The usual greetings were followed by questions on everyone's well-being, after which the conversation moved on to an exciting chatter about tonight's dinner plans. Cove excused himself to the restroom to freshen up before being on the move again. Not too surprising. Oh, he looks so nice! A bit too low cut for me, but he does look really nice. But when he returned, you were shocked to see he had entirely changed outfits. I mean, I'm not that surprised. But hey, where did that come from? I packed it with me so I could get dressed before the dinner without having to go back to the hotel. Didn't you? Or maybe you have stuff where you're still here at your mom's place? Cove, I hate to break it to you, but no, I definitely didn't do something crazy like that. But your mom's party's at the country club. Yeah, and so are middle-aged folks in Hawaiian shirts. What's your point? It'd be different if we were going to one of the club's parties, but we're only going to for a regular meal. Cove was as befuddled by your exploration as you were with his actions. He threw his arms up, desperate for it.
Seriously?
How can he not dress nicely for a country club? I don't think the Cypress is as special as you decide it is. You saw Ma. She wasn't dressed in formal clothes. She's one of the guests of honor. His frown wobbled. His cheeks became far. Aww, Cove. He looked down at his own self-forgettably as he pulled the cuffs of the end of his shirt. He seemed more like a scolded child than a grown man dressed for the latest charity gala. I thought she was gonna get changed while leaving me work. You're such a cutie. Aww, look at him. He's such a baby. Cove could only sigh, fully embarrassed. Cove's eyes stole a glance at the hall as he was calculating if he had time for another quick change. Unfortunately for him, it was not meant to be. The time to head out came far quicker than you expected. Hey, Kira and Cliff. They look very nice. Cliff looks especially fine with his white collar buttoned up. Cliff and Kira swung by the condo to make sure everything was in order, and for your second surprise that night, Cliff was also in formal clothes. Cove's face excitedly whipped towards you yours at the same time. Cliff went to Kira's. The two men pointed at one another. See, he knows. Exactly, Sport. Kira was talking to me like I was crazy. You and her thought alike in terms of the older boy's antics. The aforementioned Kira placed a hand delicately, yet dramatically across her eyes. Clifford, our son only knows this because you're the one who raised them. Cliff chuckled, his arms moved to scratch the back of his neck. Yeah, that's my boy. The end of Cove's mouth gently bent up. He truly was his father's kid, in more ways than he ever realized. They may be the only ones in this group, potentially the only guests at the entire club, all gussied up, but at least they could now take solace in one another. They looked good to be good enough for them. All of the Mayer family, as well as the honorary members Cliff, Kira, and Cove, headed out at the same time to Cyprus. It was to be a perfect reunion. An impeccably smart host greeted you on arrival, smoothly leading the way toward the set of tables reserved for the group. So, yeah, with the four of us, plus, I'm assuming Lee, plus the other three, so that's 8 people. Once you all settled in, chosen drinks were all poured into delicate glasses. The food would be coming out later, letting you soak up the atmosphere a little bit longer. Smiling, your parents faced the group of familiar faces, all gathered here together to share this special day with them. Aww. Mom reached over and took Ma's hand, clasping it between both hands.
Thanks!
Thanks for being here tonight, gang. Marrying this lady here is the best thing I've ever done, and there's no one else I'd want to celebrate that with. Yes, we're so lucky. Not only do we have each other, but we've got such a large, loving family throughout all of you. Around you heard people saying, "Aww," and chuckling appreciatively at the comments. Leah clasped her hands tightly in front of her, her eyes shining. Your eyes met Liz's moisty ones at the affection she had for her mom's carried over to you too. Oh, look at them. That's adorable. It's so sweet. You returned your attention toward the happy couple just as they leaned in for a kiss, smiling all the while. Definitely a slightly different art style too, so... The table responded with cheers and clapping, shouts of happy anniversary and other congratulations continuing even after they'd broken apart. Mom beamed as she watched Mom giggle dreamily. The raiders reappeared, delivering delicious plates of food, and other dinner began in earnest. Both conversations and laughter continued to flow freely as the night went on, with the two families relishing the opportunity to be together once more. Eventually, after your hunger and thirst had been fully satisfied, the plates were cleared and the event began to draw to a close. Cliff and Kira exchanged goodbyes with your family before heading out together. Cove gave his goodbye to his parents while hanging back until your moms were ready to head off. You were getting a lift back with your moms. It was already late, so you discussed the possibility of going straight to the hotel rather than going back to the condo, but Cove had asked if they'd mind taking you back to the neighborhood. You wanted to visit a little longer. Your moms happily agreed. Lee and Liz were feeling tired, so your mom swung by their hotel during the trip home while you and Cove made the full journey with them. Riding in the backseat of your mom's car with Cove felt more like a little nostalgic. As your eyes drifted over to him, his head resting on the window, it was hard to believe how much time had passed. Mom stretched as she got out of the car, smiling over her shoulder as she headed toward the house. Time to put my feet up. Are you two joining us? Cove shook his head. No thanks. It's your anniversary. You don't need to entertain me. I'll take a walk. It's never any trouble to have you over, Cove.
You alright with that?
Let him do as he pleases, Lanny, but you better not stay out too much later or there'll be trouble. Ma chuckled as Mom waggled a finger, her expression exaggeratedly severe as she reprised the role that, in truth, she never really played. Neither of your parents had been particularly harsh as you've grown up. Ma joined in on the act. Don't go too wild just 'cause there's no school tomorrow. Laughing, they made their way inside, leaving you standing out in the dark street with Cove. You didn't even need to ask him why. You already had the answer for this. He wasn't ready for the day to end. Without a word, Cove began to stroll down the road. You walked alongside him. You'd known your destination long before you arrived on the dark and utterly deserted beach. There was no lights down here, nothing but the moon and the stars for illumination. The only sounds were the gentle waves rolling in and out, and the soft sound of footprints you left in the sand. In other words, it was perfect. Cove stepped out onto the waves without a word. He looked up to the sky with a smile, then tucked his head down and began to pull his fancy shirt off. Also decently well built, like Derek. He tugged over his head and, granted, this is the more built version of Cove rather than the slim version, but still. Wow. He tugged over his head and lopped it backwards, further up the beach, and tugged out of the reach of the waves. Didn't know I'll be getting a show. Cove rose, his arm still raised when he finished his shirt. Slowly he came back to life, stiffly pulling his arm back down. Your commentary had made him self-conscious. Laughing, you clapped your hands in delight at his awkwardness. Cove slipped his dress pants off and tossed them back into the roughly same direction of his shirt. It was down just to his polka dot boxer briefs. Sometimes you're really struck by the ways in which he was braver than his younger self. This was definitely one of those. He never ever would have done this when you were both living in the street, but you also know he still wouldn't do it with anyone else than someone he spent all those years with. You thought it was so wild that Cove was actually going to swim right now. Cove waded in further into the water until it came up to his chest. You marveled as Cove turned around in the water, exposed shoulders glistening under the moonlight from where the waves had splashed around him. Cove grinned and waved at you from the sea. You're gonna be in so much trouble with our moms when we get back. Cove shrugged. He enjoyed this too much right now to care.
I guess.
Yeah, oh well. Think fast. He splashed water at you as soon as the words left his lips, giving you no time to prepare. He managed to turn just enough that you backtook the brunt of the onslaught, but you're still wet now. Oh, I didn't want to get wet. Cove started for our clothes.
Sorry.
Sorry, I won't do it again. You can use my clothes to dry off, I don't mind. Thanks. It can be difficult sometimes, but you can say it mattered him for long. The two of you wound up drifting further down the shoreline, chatting and enjoying the chance to back at the beach that provided the backdrop for so much of your childhood. Eventually, a silhouette of structures appeared up ahead. As you drew closer, you realized it was the old playground. Cove spotted it too and hurried toward it, digging, dragging himself out of the water and heading toward the park. Wet sand coated his feet and lower legs with every step, clinging thickly enough that it was beginning to resemble a bizarre pair of boots. As you followed him, you wondered how many visitors this little park got these days. There are officially no children living in that neighborhood now. Cove gazed his surroundings in wide awe. He didn't care that he was soaking wet and dressed in only his underwear. Crouching, he gently pushed one of the child-sized swing seats, marveling at all.
Wow.
Can't believe how tiny everything is. Were we seriously small enough to use these? He shook his head, unable to fathom how little you both been when you first met, then walking over to the monkey bars. Once these had been a challenge for you, but now they are little more than a waist height next to Cove. Cove turned his back to the bars and hopped on with ease, sitting on them comfortably. He leaned up against the bars. It was strange seeing adult Cove just posed at the baby playground. This place had been something so exciting to Cove back when he first arrived, and apparently it was to this day. As he sat into your new positions, your arms accidentally brushed against Cove's bare skin. Your heart raced as you straightened up, your eyes darting to Cove to see how he would react. He looked away, a quiet smile on his face. It was hard to tell in the dark, but you thought he might be blushing, or maybe not. You remembered how nervous Cove used to get when the two of you were physically close. Had this happened only a few years ago, he might have literally fallen off the bars. These days, those emotionally charged reactions didn't happen to him nearly as much these days. Maybe it was just further proof of how much he'd grown to be more self-assured, but you didn't think that was the entire picture. It was almost as if he didn't feel as nervous because he didn't mean the same thing as it used to, or at this point, he thought it didn't mean anything to you. Your stomach churned at the notion. You weren't sure how you felt about that. Here we are again. Looks like it. The mood had shifted now. The funny, impulsive night beach trip with a spike of adrenaline that came in from playing in the water under moonlight had settled into something quieter and more nostalgic. Cove leaned back, tilting his head toward the sky to admire the stars above. The dinner was really nice. It was great to do all this. The smile he had when he spoke those words fell as quickly as it had been. It went by so fast. We all came out here for the party and it's over. Liz Lee, our parents, we're all going back to our own things now. But what else can you do except it's okay? Guess it's a part of growing up. This place and these peoples, they're our foundation. It's shaped of who we are now, like making castles out of sand. I owe a lot to Sunset Bird. His eyes crinkled fondly, and Cove's voice was gentle when he spoke again. He had a good childhood, I think. You were really lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He shook his head, sighing heavily. Alright. His smile took on an uncharacteristically harsh twist, and you had a feeling where this is going. You better get home before your dumb parents, who don't know anything, get mad. He had a laugh at the half-hearted impression of young Jeremy, the boy you met at this very park. He chuckled along with you for a moment before tampering off. I hope we don't get grounded. The jokes kept coming. It was very amusing to imagine that not only could your mom somehow ground you as fully grown adults and grown and an independent adult, but their powers extended over Cove as well. As much as you were enjoying being back here, Cove was right. You had to accept that you needed to go now. It was late, and your moms were still expecting you to see you before you got a ride back to the hotel. Cove hopped down from the bars, landing easily on the ground only a short distance below. Sorry about that. Got a frog stuck in my throat. Before you could return, you had some clothes to retrieve from the beach. You trod the same path, following the footprints down the shore you only left in the sand a little while earlier. Cove had once scrounged up his abandoned clothing, so you started to walk up the old path home side by side. Droplets of water spilled down from Cove and fell onto the road as you made your way back to your mom's house. As he was still soaked and sandy from the earlier adventure, it was likely that Cove was still leaving quite a trail in his wake. But you've seen Cove's bedroom growing up, it was only natural for him. The air was slightly humid and already pleasantly dense with a moisture that felt like a hug as it closed around you. Any damp footprints that were left behind will only take long to dry in this weather. The signs of your next adventure might even be visible when the sun came up the next day. You hope so. You quite like the idea that you and Cove leaving your mark on your hometown again, even if it was only for a little while. Despite being out late, and in Cove's case, mostly undressed, the balmy summer night prevented you from feeling any chill. You were entirely comfortable. In truth, you felt warm inside out. The day had been lovely, and spending time with your friends and family, and your eyes drifted over to Cove. Your gaze at his face was never far from your mind, and yet it seems to find something new to marvel at every time you looked. But this time, as you studied him, a realization struck to you that brought all other thoughts to an end. Cove's face was still wet, with tiny clear balls of sea water stubbornly clinging to him, but among them were also droplets of entirely different forms of sort of salt water. Tears. He was crying. Cove? You uttered his name seriously, determined to learn what was wrong. Cove stopped walking as he heard you call his name, but he kept his body turned to the side, not facing you directly. He blinked rapidly, trying to bat the tears away, only causing more of them to fall instead. In each new attempt to regain his composure, he took a series of breaths, but each shallow exhale routed it in his throat. What on earth happened? His eyes wide remained locked on the road leading up to your childhood homes. He bit his bottom lip, a few steps closer. You can tell me anything. Oh, precious baby. Finally, his expression crumpled like cardboard in the rain. All efforts to keep himself together overwhelmed by tears he could no longer fight back. His voice cracked as he spoke. I don't want this to end. He screwed his eyes shut and shook his head. It's not Sunset Bird or the beach or the neighborhood or any of that. As important as those are to me, no matter how much of an impact they've grown on who I am, I meant what I was doing at the park. How can I still be happy even when I'm right there? How can I move forward with my life? Because as much as I love them, it's not those places themselves that made me happy, not really. It's who I was with when I was there. The last sentence was whispered so softly that even in the quiet of night you could barely make out his final words. The last when he turned to face you, he spoke again. His voice was gentle but clearly
Luna.
Luna, you're what defines my life, and yet I'm so scared that maybe someday you won't be there anymore.
I love you.
Baby. Your gasp, his sudden honest declaration sent your mind and body into overdrive, your pulse racing and head spinning. Though you had many thoughts, none of them were coherent enough to put into words, effectively setting you into silence. Cove didn't retreat into the wake of your silence. That's how I really feel, but maybe I shouldn't be doing this. The last words were tinged with regret, and for the first time since he looked directly at you, his gaze faltered. I mean, if something was supposed to happen between us, it would have already happened, right? He joked up further, new droplets forming along the rim of his lower eyelids to replace the many that have already fallen. His voice was thick as he spoke again. Something had always stopped me for so many years. I guess I always thought if I tried asking, I'll end up losing everything. I couldn't take that risk. Now, though, it feels like I'll lose you if I don't say something, if I don't tell you how I feel. That's why I don't want to know, that's all. I'm in love with you, and you can tell me the truth about what you feel. There's a lump in your throat, and if you hadn't been for the rapid pounding in your chest, you might have thought it was your heart. Wait,
It's okay.
I promise it'll be okay, no matter what. I just want to know what you want. He smiled a little sadly, but in the way that crinkled his eyes, he knew that the offer was genuine, not the PlayStation meant to make you feel better. He was prepared to be rejected. It was your turn to respond. I just gonna throw my arms around him. Your body had responded to his words faster than your brain. You knew you couldn't let go, couldn't let him down, and had locked onto him before you could think about speaking. Cove, meanwhile, had gotten shocked from your sudden movement. He was still ill and stiff in your arms, not returning or responding to your embrace. You couldn't entirely blame him. He'd been so clearly expecting another response entirely. long enough. Even now, you couldn't resist teasing him a little. Cove was floundering, his mouth twisting into many shapes as if he was about to speak, but he was incapable of setting onto a single word. As much as you had felt you were about to burst with anticipation, you waited patiently for him to recover, and when he did, the explosion came not from you, but out of his mouth.
Oh my god!
Wait, that's hilarious.
Oh my god!
The volume made you start. Cove, however, wasn't finished. Why? His hands flailed wildly. You weren't sure if he apologized or fanning himself or trying to flag down something flying
Sorry.
overhead. Oh my god, I'm sorry. You don't have to answer that. He clasped a hand over his mouth, locking away in his words until he could think coherently about what he wanted to say. You watched him concentrating. Finally, he moved his hand away, but what came out wasn't a word, but a squeak. He flinched at his failed attempts at speech and cleared his throat instead.
Self-voicing disabled.
Despite every muscle in his body fighting to retain his composure, his brows furrowed as he looked at you and his eyes misted with tears once more. Do you mean it, really? His misty eyes were wide, full of hope and love. Yes, and yes again, and I'll keep saying it. Oh, babe, just look at your goofy smile. Cove's mouth wobbled as his composure weakened further. He sniffled, even though the tears hadn't ever stopped. After all this time, His kind words trailed off, and instead of being overcome by his emotions, Cove angled his brows in resolution and stood straight up. Cove swept you up in his arms, lifting you after feet to bring you closer. Cove brought a tight grip as he squeezed you in his embrace, and you could feel the joy and desire to never let you go, a wish that you could now finally fulfill. He laid his forehead against her to rest against you, relishing the fact that he was actually free to do this. Now that you didn't know how long you'd stay like that, entangled in each other, now that you actually finally together, neither of you wanted to let the other go. But eventually, Cove released you. He took a few uneasy steps backwards, as if the experience had disoriented him, and he needed to find his footing once again. Cove then covered his eyes with his hands. He began to laugh. It was slow and worn out as the buzz from the high emotion had now trained away. It was also tinged with self-derision. Oh, look at that goofy smile.
I
really wish I'd done this with my clothes on. I'm so embarrassed. Yeah. I want to say the last thing. It's just like you're having your shirt off is half the reason I accepted you jokes. Oh my god. Cove remained firmly over his eyes as he mumbled something you couldn't make out. You suspected that the embarrassing murmurings weren't protests or even words at all, but just meant meaningless noises to express his feelings. In spite of the awkwardness behavior, he had a shaky smile. He was happy. Cove spoke again, his voice as gentle as falling petals. Thank you, Luna. This is my only dream, and it came true. Even if it did take a while. I love you more than anything. Oh, thank you. The two of you stood there facing each other, both comfortable with the silence now that had fully descended. You've grown up together, your lives intertwined, and now that would continue into the future, knowing that it filled you with such beautiful joy. He really is adorable. And all to think in that moment how wonderfully life was. You didn't know how the two of you knew when the time was right, only that as one, you turned to go inside to make your farewells to your mom. Once inside, Cove had cocked his head toward you nervously, while your moms were looking the other way. You knew that tilt of the head, the slight raise of his eyebrows meant you didn't know what to do now. Should something be said? You shook your head. It was late, your moms were already in their pajamas, and you had the feeling you'd prefer to wait. Cove nodded, smiling. After a long, eventful day, as well as the shyness of just how you confessed to your feelings, all just drenched and barely dressed, both of you could have a break from high emotions. We share the news tomorrow when it will be less immediate and the inevitable teasing would seem less intense. The act wasn't quite enough to fool your parents, who seemed to notice something was up, but curious glances were all they gave to you that night. Cove stayed silent as he put his casual clothes on again, placing the formal ones back into the bag he brought them in. appreciated their consideration, and as the card to take you back arrived, you silently thanked your lucky stars for such thoughtful parents, and for Cove. Then, before you knew it, you were at the hotel. By the time you and Cove finally dragged yourselves to your hotel room for the night, the sky had been dark for some time, and the lonely hotel hallways were quiet. The late hour made you feel some sense of fulfillment. You were really making the most of your trip. It was such an odd thought that this was almost over. You had settled into this new routine naturally. All the familiar streets and the faces made everything easy to get used to. The two of you drowsily shuffled past the ice machine and into your room. Cove set his phone on his bedside table and he followed suit. Both of you started settling in for the night. The hotel room was a welcome sight after your long day. You noticed that Cove rubbed the back of his neck and yawned. His voice was quiet in the distance. I hope the pet sitter's doing good. The wish wasn't actually directed at you. It was just sleepy thought that Cove had unleashed upon the world at large, but you still agreed. I hope so. The sitter's watching some of the best animals on the planet. Cove still kept fish after all these years. Delightful, colorful things in huge aquariums. He spends a lot of time with them when he wanted to just relax, just watching them swim. He also adopted a new pet he loved dearly. I'm gonna say it's a cat. Your home was a lovely place full of critters that both of you cared for. That's why, when both of you are gone, it important to find a decent pet sitter. Cove's anxiety about leaving them hadn't subsided. Over the vacation, you had calm a few times texting the pet sitter and asking about his fish. It'll be okay. Cove turned his head to you, the nervousness still coming off despite his exhaustion. Remember, you gave that pet sitter such an in-depth field orientation that they knew all of their names. And most of the fish are practically identical. Cove laughed, instantly lighter. You nodded in satisfaction, mission accomplished. Nice. Cove yawned widely. He seemed confused at the magnitude of it. He groggily blinked at you. I think it's time for bed. That is a great thought. You yawned and then raised an eyebrow at Cove for making you catch his. He gave you a little smile, but then ended up yawning again. I think so too. The two of you got changed and brushed your teeth. In no time at all, both of you were cozy and ready for sleep. After that, you and Cove headed to the opposite sides of the room to climb into your respective beds. You tucked yourself under the covers gladly, positioning your pillows to be just right, then shifted to peer over at Cove. He was facing you back, just like the night before. Watch the man who was now your partner lying comfortably in his bed. The physical distance between the two of you in the situation felt different than it would have before. You joke that you should have got a king-size bed. Too bad these hotel rooms double beds are so narrow. If we got that king-size bedroom, we could be sharing right now. Cove sat up straight in his own mattress.
Well...
Sorry. Until earlier today, I really was not convinced you'd want to do something like that with me. Understand, don't feel bad about it, I was only teasing. Thanks. A crooked smile appeared on Cove's face. It seemed like as though he's also had some joking minds. If I wasn't so tall, we might have been able to still make the sharing happen, but yeah, that's not gonna work either. I guess it wasn't meant to be. You sighed gymnatically and stretched your arms out across the minimal width of the hotel bed. Next time? Yeah, next time. That promise was comforting enough. Cove spoke his words like a lullaby.
Good night.
Good night, Luna. You have a good night, too. Cove's eyes fluttered shut and let out a contented sigh. Your eyes fell closed sometime after, and you're not exactly sure when, only the fact that they now too were too heavy to open. You felt a mixture of bitter and sweet emotions. You were happy to be here, but it was a sad ending. There was relief that you could soon be in your own home again, but also wondering when your next return home would be. There's many more feelings swirling around in your head that hadn't even crystallized into thoughts yet. Paradoxically, you felt like nice but also confused, but then also nice from the confusion. In the back of your mind, you realized that you must be tired. Unsurprisingly, your exhaustion did not give you too much time to muse on your emotions, and in what felt like seconds, you were already dreaming. Dreams dancing around in your head became fragmented and faded until you couldn't remember a thing about them all. You were growing more aware of the real world. You woke up on your own. Paladin squeezed your eyes shut. The world started to darken as sleep pulled you back under again. Cove could be responsible when you decided you weren't ready for morning yet. You sat up fully with a big yawn, stretching up your back and then your arms and lastly your neck before accepting the day. The blanket fell to the side when you strung your legs over to the side of the bed. Part of it almost caught your butt foot, but you kicked it away. Cove put a hand over his mouth, but you still caught up the way his shoulders shook. He took a step back, giving you room to get up. Today would be your last day in Sunset Bird. The only thing you had planned was some family time in the old neighborhood. You figured you would see where the day took you from there. Yawning again, you glanced over to your clothes. There's just one more day to live out in your bag. Hey Cove, is there anything you'd like to see me in today? No, you always look nice in whatever you wear, you always do. You knew from the warm tone of his voice that Cove was sincere, and his praise warmed your chest. Dreamily, Cove's head tilted as he watched you. His blue eyes were as lovely as always, but then, strangely, they whined all of a sudden. What's wrong? Well, I was just thinking, we can't avoid sharing the news any longer. We're gonna have to tell our families to face our families' teasing when we see them. I'll make it through this together. He smiled softly at that and nodded. You weren't looking forward to the teasing storm that was definitely coming, but you could weather it for your safety, in the safety of your cove. He appeared a lot less worried than he did a minute ago.
It's no problem.
No matter what, it'll be worth it. It's a price I paid to be here, to be us. Elated, your smile widened. Alright, let's get things going. Our families are waiting. Nodding, you and Cove swiftly finished getting ready in the small hotel room. As soon as you had your stuff together, you were ready to go and you were off. During the ride there, you and Cove decided to visit his dad's house first this time. When you got dropped off, Cove eagerly hopped out into the street with his eyes locked on his father's condo. Your gaze fell onto your boyfriend. He stood in the middle of the street where you grew up together, while the summer sun made him shine, though he was the brightest light in your eyes no matter what. You turned away, hiding the way your face ran with embarrassment. It was still hard to believe that Cove was actually your boyfriend now. You know what? For the extra ending, and yet Cove meant so much to you, really wanted to propose. Couldn't you honestly ask him to marry you despite only officially dating for one night? Glancing back at Cove, all the tension and doubt left your body. You knew Cove. You knew him more than anyone else in the world. You didn't want to rush, and you wanted to catch up everyone you've been missing before now. Hey, Cove? Yeah? Your moment answered out of the corner of his mouth, eyes glued to their father's condo. You know, for the memes, normally I wouldn't want to do this, but like, would you want to go to the Hot Poppy Hill with me? Cove's moved to stare directly at you, his mouth drooping in a tiny frown as he absorbed your suggestion to suddenly change your plan. But once he did see the look on your face, he shook off any lingering confusion. That smile you loved grew once
Of
again.
course.
Of course, lead the way. You released a breath through your closed teeth, pairing that with a nod. To the hill behind your old house you went, just the two of you. It was just a journey you're intimately familiar with, but this time you simply not the same. Actually, during that you felt painfully nervous. It was the hardest thing you ever attempted. You stumbled forward, nearly tripping on your own 2 feet, more than once, and each time Cove reached out to try catching you, but you were able to recover before you had to fall into his arms. As much as you enjoyed that, you feared losing your nerve if you fell that hard. Your body continued to tremble. It made reaching your destination a challenge in it itself, and that was not even including the part that you had to want to run away the other way. You breathed in and out as levelly as you could manage, remaining yourself as you were almost there. Under your feet, tarmac gave way to dirt and sparse tufts of grass, which then transitioned to a lush, full field of green and white. The gentle fluttering petals was your greeting, which was just very, very nice. The Poppy Hill, the exact spot where you first met your new neighbor over 15 years ago. You share countless memories here over the years, catching fireflies, watching clouds, simply taking time to just talk to one another. You grew up there side by side. The small parts of the world was inextricably linked with Cove in mind. It was a place where a most important encounter occurred, and he needed it to be the place where he asked him the most important question. It was silent. You and Cove faced one another, affection filling the small space between you. You still don't know why you were doing this, but he transparently didn't care. He was only happy to be there, with you. There was almost a painfully pinging in your chest. The strength of your emotions for him, and the acknowledgement that he had the same feeling back for you, made your body ache. You would never imagine this when you first knew the grumpy little boy he was, but now as adults, it was the absolute truth. You wanted to be with Cove, and you needed him to be yours forever, no matter how frightening trying to make that happen might be. You loved Cove, you loved him so deeply. And at that moment, you couldn't be more certain. Every step you would ever take in this life was leading you right here. I feel like starting with words would make more sense in this particular case. Some of these are just hilarious. Just blurting it out, the stumbling over the words, being kind of like normal, speaking super fast, not even getting out of full sentence, and then being super quiet. You know what? I'm gonna go with what I think is probably the funniest. I think you should get very pleased. Thank you. It was all happening in slow motion. His expression of serene affection shifting and quivering awe, his eyebrows lifting a nearly sea-foam green hairline, and his mouth stretching out to the limits. But despite Cove's mouth being open, he didn't breathe a word. He was entirely incapable of that, so you made your own move. You picked up a nearby poppy and held it up to Cove while getting down on one knee. This is so cheesy and dumb. I mean, but it's cute too. Your blue eyes shone in the bright light of day, and you hoped he could see the strength of your love for him just as he looked up at him from down on one knee. At that, Cove crumpled onto the ground, his legs completely giving out underneath him, bubbling drops of tears falling down to the grass just as heavily.
Luna.
This is so... That single word was all he could choke out, but that alone was an inspiration that you need to continue your open Oregon fish. And though the ocean was clearly over there to your side, you felt a wave of seasickness. But that nervousness didn't stop you from sharing your thoughts about your relationship, your history, and your love for him. I know it's only been a short while ago when you finally became a couple, and now we're proposing, but I can't pretend. You've been in there my life since we were kids, and I've always wanted us to be together. And with every day that's gone by, the more you meant to me. It's not possible to express how much I feel the words. And once more I will ask, will you marry me? The corners of Cove's mouth pulled up as he let every word reach up to his heart. Still smiling like sunshine, he parted his lips to answer, but all that came out as gasping, squeaking sound. Frustrated, when he tried to push past that block, he got himself into a stuttering, coughing fits. Sorry. Please don't force yourself. It's okay. Cove instinctively reached forward and gripped you for support. He hung his head low, taking in slow, deepening breaths. You didn't mind in any way, shape, or form. You waited forever for Cove if it was necessary. Eventually, the trembling in his fingers that were holding you settled out. He was able to lift his head once more to be able to meet your gaze. I will. Despite tears still clinging to his eyes, the words were eventually spoken. Cove had complete confidence in this. Luna, I'm so grateful to marry you. There's nothing more than I could ever ask for. You never understood the term music to your ears better than when you heard the way he laughed so sweetly in that moment. I've thought about this a lot, you know, probably way too often, and now it's happening. I don't know if I'm even good enough with words to tell you how happy you'll make me. You're what makes my life such a wonderful, beautiful, amazing experience, and I'm luckier than I have any right to be just to know you.
I love you.
Thank you for asking me and being mine and letting me be yours. I love you. Let's get married. Delicately, Cove lifted it out and opened hand. You started understanding what that gesture meant instantly. tied the poppy into the shape of a ring and put it on Cove. It's adorable. Created the makeshift ring and then slipped it onto his rightful place on Cove's finger. It was a delicate fit that wouldn't last, but he had no complaints. His voice thick with emotion, Cove whispered, "It's perfect. I'll keep it, always." His eyes were transfixed on the poppy. He admired it openly before finally lifting his gaze to meet yours. The view of the ocean blue held glossy drops of water, and somehow all you could think was that was him, Cove Holden, the man he loved, and now the person you were going to marry. You pulled him into a kiss. You couldn't hold back any longer. Your fingertips skimmed over his cheeks for a second, all sweetness. Cove got the hint and he pulled you into him as close as he could get despite desperate to hold you. Gladly you kissed your fiancé. He kissed you back lovingly and you could feel the smile on his face. This place is where you met, where you grew, and where you fell in love, and now it was a place where you shared your life together truly began. Your eyes shifted close to let yourself experience it, to anchor yourself in this moment and hold you on to it for as long as possible. You, the both of you, never wanted to let go. You were certain of it. The rest of your days would be set side by side. That's all you hoped for. With the swirling excitement of your new engagement relaxed back into the more familiar style of gentle comfort of your relationship brought, Cove stood up and lifted you along with him. The lingering warmth filled the air around you, much more than normal heat of summer. It was all your own. With a tone, Cove spoke once more. "Let's go see our families." The smile on his face was shaky. You knew he was nervous to tell them news. You shared that sensation completely. "Yeah, they're waiting for us." Right back at the doorstep of the Holden household, your fiancé put his hand on the doorknob and took a deep breath. It was clear why he hesitated. Once he twisted the doorknob, it would be time to announce that you're going to be married. He stole a glance at you. You tried to stay calm for both of your sakes. He nodded with his confidence clearly bolstered. Then Cove opened the door. "We're here." Together you stepped into the house, hearts beating fast. Cove stopped before even placing his foot down. There was unexpected company. You saw your family, not just your moms, but Liz and Lee as well, along with them. Terry and Miranda were curled up on the couch, and Derek sipping out a glass of water. Surprise! Surprise! Everyone else followed out a chorus of surprises. Cove's eyes widened and he swallowed hard. This wasn't part of the plan. What took
Yeah!
Yeah, you're so close. Cove remained almost completely frozen in place, though he did finally place a foot into the ground. "Hey, Sports, Luna, your friends came over for visits, so I invited them to breakfast.
Any whoosies?
And since we're cooking for our crowd any whoosies, we decided to ask Pam, Noel, and all over to you. Pretty nice, huh?" You dashed nervously. An awkward smile crept out of your face as you tried to absorb that everyone was here. Everyone was going to know. The group looked back with confused expressions. Cove automatically rubbed his paint scar on his arm. You know, because I did this, I'm gonna say I have the announcement. All eyes turn to you, and not a lot of eyes wants to see you. Cove and I are engaged. Cove nodded with a serious expression.
Right!
That's right, I'm going to marry Luna. Cove reached over to take your hand as a physical sign of your union.
What?
Engaged? Your sister's shout cut through the room. From everyone else's reaction, it was clear that she was speaking from the majority of the room. When did you even start dating? I thought that was going to be a big announcement. Cove refused to meet Liz's eyes. His attention drifted down closer to his shoes. If he even got 1% to be more bashful, you'd imagine he'd have to start hiding behind you. Last night, before going back to the hotel room, I asked Luna to be Luna's boyfriend. Then today, this morning, Luna proposed to me. Damn, man. Derek's breeze was playing on his face as he snorted. Cove's eyes were fixed on the general area of you and Cove, completely stunned. Kira smiled wistfully. Ma giggled as most of the room continued to goggle.
I understand.
Well, I can't blame them. When you know it's right, it's right.
True.
You have a point. I guess I can't be too surprised that they're pulling this. It just figures.
Oh, yeah.
It's very much up their alleys. Cove literally just went for it. Yep, what else would that pair do but just skip the whole dating thing just to go straight to the wedding? No, it's only marriage. Cove hopped and tapped his feet to the lawn.
Hey!
I told you we technically dated for a night, okay? Counts. Liz's cackles was the loudest of everyone's laughs. You had a feeling that they would be chuckling about this for a long while. Probably always. Suddenly, Cove was almost bowled over by Cliff, throwing his arms around him. His other compressed him even more tightly as Cove regained his balance.
I'm so glad.
I'm so proud of you, Cove. The two of you get to be happy, I'm sure of it. Dad! Cove sniffed, his eyes wide and emotional. Then he hugged his father back just as firmly. Yeah, I will be. Both of us will be. While the two embraced, Kira came up to your side. She put a hand on your shoulder and spoke gently.
Thank you.
Thank you for being so wonderful to my baby. I'm lucky and grateful that I'm going to be a part of my life forever. Cliff pulled back and switched to patting the sides of Cove's arms. Well put, Kira. We'll just keep it for sure. Kira sidestepped over to her son and pinched his cheek. Then she tapped his nose playfully. Cliff gave her space, though he continued to keep a hold of Cove. Your parents now had now reached you. They took a hold of one arm of yours each. I can't believe how grown up you are. I couldn't be happy with how that all happened. Congratulations, Luna. You're one of the smartest cookies there are. You're making an amazing life for yourself. Liz elbowed her way to the front with Lee not far behind. Your mom stayed at your sides. Lee squealed in your face, pumping fists into the air.
Seriously?
This is totally amazing. You're seriously getting married. It's like we're real adults and all that. Yeah, it almost be hard to believe that my baby sister's marrying a person you know. If Cove wasn't such an obvious choice as a husband for you. Her smile turned abnormally soft. You're doing good. Out of the corner of your eye, you noticed that Cove's parents released him. He took the opportunity to slide closer to you and nodded at Liz. Thanks for the positive reading.
You're welcome.
Lee giggled and your mom had some chuckles. Cove stood awkwardly, not entirely sure if he or Liz were being laughed at. You and your three friends stayed back. You believe that they were intentionally giving your families a chance to have a moment. But once they said their pieces, it didn't take long for your friends to swarm you excitedly. Congratulations on the engagement! It's crazy we're really at this point of our lives. Some days it feels like high school is yesterday.
So great.
But it's great. You're definitely Sunset's bird's best couple. Terry nodded eagerly. You're an aspiration. I'm stoked you're going to be official. This is a big step, but I'm going to say you've more than earned it with everything you've been through all over the years. You both deserve to be each other's for the rest of your lives. Cove had appeared weepy before, but this sealed it. You cried. Everyone's words had built up and coalesced into Cove shedding the happiest tears you've seen. Thank you. Group hug. You spread your arms wide, welcome everyone in for a good squeeze. There's so many people. You can hack it. Sure, let's do it. Cove were in the first arms around you, although it didn't take long for everyone else to join in. You and Cove were squished into a giant hug of family and friends. Cove worked a little to embrace you tighter. You pressed his cheeks against yours, still wet from the oncoming tears. Good luck, kiddos. You got a journey ahead of you. Cliff agreed with a chuckle. They've known each other for 15 years and they still haven't gotten sick of each other yet. How hard could it be to make it work with the rest of the lives be?
It's no trouble.
For the two of them, not difficult at all. Yeah, I'm impressed that Cove didn't run away even once during this big life change. You shot a sideways glance at your tearful fiancé and the room laughed again. There's no way to run. He jested at everyone standing around him as the punchline of his joke. I wouldn't get too far. You weren't sure if your original quip or Cove's comeback got a better reaction. Either way, you were happy. With the hug complete, people once again spread out so everyone had breathing room. From ear to your cheek, over the bridge of your nose and to your other ear, your blush warmed your skin. It didn't stop there. It spread over every inch, encompassing you with affection. You could feel every ounce in pats and exciting hug from the outpouring of love and acceptance from your friends and family. Truly touched, you watched them step back and take their seats again. When the excitement and energy buzzing around the table started to calm, you had a second to truly appreciate this view, the most important people in your life all together again. It still felt too good to be true to have everyone here. Then again, you noticed Kira stood back up. She clasped her hands once in a satisfying smack.
Any whoosies?
I hate to interrupt, but I thought you want to know that the food's done cooking.
Oh,
Oh, food. I kind of forgot that's what we're here for. Embarrassed, Cove scratched the back of his neck and kept his gaze away from anyone in particular. The crowd burst into fits of laughter. Wow, I didn't think you'd ever forget about your precious food. No offense, Luna. He eats like it's both the first and last time he's doing it. Liz directed the last part at you with a sincere, apologetic shrug. Meanwhile, Derek shook his head, fighting back a grin. And the funny thing is Luna definitely does a better job of getting Cove's attention than Meals do. Clearly. Cove staring never left the floor, but you could tell he was just listening to their teasing. Leaning back in the chair, he quietly closed his arms and pouted. Amused, your lips curled teasingly. You didn't go unnoticed, and your sister covered her mouth with the palm of her hand in anticipation. Maybe I should take some cooking classes, increase my Cove magnetism even more. A loud bark of laughter escaped Derek before he could rein himself in. He turned to Cove, and his expression still hasn't changed.
Oh, man!
Might make you too powerful, honestly. The thought of that put a little deep laugh from you. Before it vanished, you even caught the small cracker smile on Cove's lips. Ah, it's great. Cliff dropped across the floor to place a pile of silverware on the table, and then he dropped the stuff on the other surfaces around the rest of the living room. When he was done, he gestured toward the food.
okay.
Plates are in the kitchen. Serve yourselves and sit wherever you like. The guests around happily formed a line, and the meals were steadily passed around. Before long, each person claimed a seat in the Holden living room area, some at the table, some in the kitchen island, and some situated at the couches. Conversation trickled across the various clusters of friends as everyone dug in. Cove finished his plate in record time with a pleasant sigh, put his fork down and surveyed the room. This is really cool, just how we're getting to do this kind of thing. I like this too, Cove. I hope we'll be able to make this happen again. Of course, there will be more reasons to get the gang back together in the future. Yes, the two of you might even dare to celebrate your yearly anniversary. Cats every year. The smirk on Liz's face grew only wider as your moms giggled at teasing. Ma shook her head, chuckling softer now.
Shush.
Liz, shush.
True.
Honestly, we just might. You made a good point. It does come around every year. You should. Seriously, you deserve a big celebration for your magical day. Kids are right. You got a lot of people who want to appreciate you. You gotta give them a chance. True, I know I have a lot to thank you for. There were more nods in agreement around the room, and your moms took each other's hands for support. Neither were expecting so much encouragement. I'll think about it. She'll think about it, and I'll tell Lanny to stop thinking so hard if she doesn't agree. Pam!
Good.
Good job, Mom. Now with that said, let's continue to enjoy this perfect gathering. Actually, you want to know who else being here would actually make this extra perfect? Amazing as this was, you couldn't help but think about your absent faces. In seconds, everyone curiously turned their attention to you. Shiloh. Liz stared at you blankly for several seconds before covering your mouth with her hands, laughing hard. Lowering her hand, she shook her head. You know, it might actually be fun having him join us in the full group. Too bad it's not gonna happen. Yeah, I know. These days, Shiloh was a lot less readily available to talk to either of you than he used to be. Last you heard, he was busy studying to be an accountant of all things. He also become more honest about his feelings, specifically that he didn't have much time for Sunset Bird and was not able to visit until he was done getting certified. But Shiloh was so willing to keep in touch over calls and texts. You were grateful that he was at least not as difficult to figure out now as an adult than he was a kid. Cove's mouth wobbled nervously. He shrugged, unsure what to make of your suggestion at all. Those two men were definitely never became close. And it's too bad Baxter is missing all of this. Cove turned to you with a genuine, thoughtful look. He rubbed his forearm while composing his words. Really, Baxter? I mean, it'd be interesting to see what he would be like now. Yeah, that's what I think too. I just don't know. It's truly odd talking about him, saying the name out loud. Baxter Ward had never truly committed to bothering you again, and it was rare a topic ever came up with anyone else. But the mark that he left on your mind hadn't been erased away completely. Perhaps someday you'll meet him again. And it'd be cool if Jeremy was here too. A small chuckle escaped Cove before his lips caught into a bent smile. He shook his head slightly while he studied you disbelief.
I guess.
You know you would hate this. But yeah, I wouldn't mind if Jeremy was actually here. Snickering, your cheeks hurt from grinning so wide. You could easily imagine how vocally annoyed Jeremy would be sitting amongst all your friends and family. I was amazed that despite the twists and turns life threw in your direction, you still kept in touch with that angry little boy you met one summer a long time ago. Somehow the university brought you both together as teens, and since then you continued talking on and off for the past 5 years. You appreciated the occasions that you got to check in with him. Since becoming an adult, he personally had gone through a few more changes. Jeremy was still definitely a downcast and shy, but he got back some of that fighting spirit he had as a kid. Smiling to yourself, you felt that kind of came around full circle, hadn't it? His negative attitude aside, Jeremy did well of himself. He was going to graduate from a well-respected business university very soon, and you were genuinely happy for him. And as much as he protested that very notion, you're pretty sure that Jeremy was going to end up going back home and helping his parents run their small hobby shop. Leaning back in your seat, you were pleased with the suggestion. Derek scratched his cheek with an amused chuckle.
I swear.
It's unreal that you did become friends with that mean kid. Talk about comeback of the ages. It's historic. Giggling, you thought about how Derek and Jeremy only met in person that one summer years and years ago. But because you each had a continued relationship with both, you kept them informed on each other. While Jeremy couldn't muster up any care about what was going on with his old acquaintance, Derek was always morbidly intrigued by the latest Jeremy updates, and you were more than happy to oblige. There's no way that Jeremy would agree to any of us as friends. Pran is still the only one who gets that honor. Incredible. Being people he's decently familiar with is still close enough when it comes to Jeremy. Yeah. He left things there. There was a playfulness in Kira's stare as she scanned the room. She slowly placed her index finger on her chin. Now that I think of it, there's something I haven't done in a while. Her eyebrows were raised at Kira's incomplete thought. She wordlessly urged to continue, and Kira didn't hesitate. Let's all look through the photos Cliff has here. Wouldn't it be that fun to be all of us? And with that, I think that'll be a perfect time to end this episode here. I hope you guys have a good day, night, week, month of your lives, and may the stars forever guide your path wherever they might lead you into the future. And I hope to see you guys again soon.